if I'm live quite yet, so forgive me if I'm already live and I'm just rambling and wait for my laptop to catch up. It should do any second now. There we go. Yay! Hi! I'm Helen Discombe, and I am a birth doula who works with women from preconception right through to the early days with their babies. Oxfordshire Maternity Voices Partnership have invited me to offer an introduction to hypnobirthing for you this evening, and I really hope that you find this useful. Apologies for starting at 8:05 rather than the originally advertised 8 o'clock. It suddenly occurred to me about an hour ago that tonight was the night that we clap for the NHS and our key workers, and I felt it was important that I wanted to join in with that, so I hope you forgive me. Also, excuse me for having my phone to hand. One of the things that I seem to keep finding with lives at the moment is for some reason, I'm not seeing questions as they pop up, and I don't want to miss any of your questions while I'm live. So I just want to, if I may, keep half an eye on the page just so that I can see if any questions are coming up for me to answer. But anybody that's watching this back later, if you've got a question, pop it into the comments box, wherever that may be, and I will check in the page, and I will catch up with those a bit later for you. Okay, tomorrow, it most likely will be tomorrow now. So first of all, I wanted to start with what exactly is hypnobirthing. There's a lot of people that think hypnobirthing is kind of a bit airy-fairy, perhaps a bit hippie, and that it's only suitable for people that are having natural births or water births or home births, or any birth really that doesn't involve any kind of intervention, which could not be further from the truth. Hypnobirthing really is about a set of techniques that helps you to have a calm and comfortable birth. I use the word comfortable rather than pain-free because nobody can guarantee what you are going to experience in labour and birth. Nobody can guarantee whether or not you're going to experience any pain. But many women using hypnobirthing techniques do report that they feel that the pain of birth, if you like, is manageable for them. I did have a quick look this afternoon when I was putting together my preparation for this. The Cochrane review of the studies around the use of hypnobirthing and looking at use of pain relief in birth, they have identified that hypnosis could support women. But to me, to be honest with you, it's much more about feeling calm in birth and feeling in control. So hypnobirthing was originally developed as a birth preparation program by Marie Mongan in the USA in 1989. You may have heard of the Mongan method of hypnobirthing. That's the original hypnobirthing. There are a number of brands now throughout the UK, but ultimately all of them have their foundations laid with Marie Mongan and the Mongan method. And it's really, really important to me to honour her and the fact that the work originally began with her findings. Her findings go back a little bit further. So some of you may have heard of a book called Childbirth Without Fear, which was written by Dr. Grantley Dick Reed. This book was written and first published way back in 1942. And a lot of people kind of think, when I talk more about it, some people kind of think, wow, okay. That it's a bit mind-blowing when they think about how childbirth perhaps looked back in 1942. But in his book, he discusses a theory that basically fear of the birth experience itself leads to tension within the birthing body, which then causes pain. And with that pain, that then adds to more fear, which then adds to further tension in the birthing body, which then causes more pain. And it's a cycle that builds and builds and builds and builds on itself. So basically what we're looking to do with hypnobirthing techniques is to break down that cycle. So the thought is that if we eliminate the fear of birth, we then eliminate the tension in the birthing body, which then eliminates the pain of birth. So what does that really mean? Okay, so what we look to do with hypnobirthing in terms of breaking down that cycle. So to look to eliminate the fear of birth, we educate people to understand exactly what it is that birth looks like. You know, we don't see it in our culture that much, really. And when we do, it's a very dramatic version of birth. What we quite often see is what's depicted to us in TVs and films. And I'm sure we've all seen those films where, you know, woman is out somewhere in public, waters break, within seconds she's having excruciatingly painful contractions and she needs to go to the hospital, and then she's flat on her back on the bed and screaming her head off, and you just think, oh my gosh, I don't want it. No, thank you very much. The reality is that's not really what birth needs to be. So we talk about in hypnobirthing how birth works. So how the muscles in the birthing body work, and how our hormones work, and how our body works beautifully and almost performs like a dance of labour for the baby to be born, basically. And there are some really excellent books out there on the market that you can get to learn so much more about what birth looks like and how it all comes together and how it works. Because quite frankly, I would love to go into this with you now, because birth is something that I'm hugely passionate about, and I could speak about, you know, if they gave me 3 hours to speak to you, I could probably still be going all by myself without any questions 3 hours later about birth and how amazing it is. But a book that I highly recommend is the Positive Birth book by Millie Hill. And it's an amazing read. It covers all that you need to know about the birthing muscles, the hormones that come into play. It's got all about various drugs that are available for pain relief, as well as things that you can do for yourself to help with pain, which is something I'll talk about a little bit later as well. And it also talks about the different pathways of birth. It talks about induction, it talks about natural birth, it talks about cesarean birth, it talks about assisted birth, so forceps birth and von Tooth birth. It covers everything. And honestly, it's, once you've read that book, you are so well set up in terms of knowing what's going to happen and knowing what your options are. Now, I do appreciate that in the current climate that we're in, there are certain elements of birth that are outside of our control. But generally, our bodies still work the same, basically. Birth still works the same way. It's just the system is a little bit different to what we used to, shall we say. So that's a really, really good book to read to help to eliminate that. Also, what a lot of hypnobirthing practitioners do is they will use hypnosis techniques to help to eliminate any fears of birth that you've got in your mind. So how the human mind works is quite interesting. We don't perceive a difference between our reality, what's happening to us, and the stories that we're told. So as a result of the stories that we're told, we can develop fear of certain scenarios. And that's where negative birth stories that are quite often shared around can come into play. That can make us start to feel quite fearful about birth and our own birth experience. So what a hypnobirthing practitioner may do is use hypnosis with you so that you can kind of rewire and reprogram your brain, if you like, to get rid of those fears. Then when you layer the education around what actually happens with your body on top of that, and then positive birth stories as well, it helps to prepare your mind, if you like, for a more positive birth experience. So that's essentially what a hypnobirthing practitioner will do with the fear element around birth. Now, the next part I want to come on to is the tension part, so how we seek to eliminate tension. And this is a much more practical part of the session for you, which I'm hoping will be really, really useful for some of you. So tension in the birthing body, what can we do to eliminate that tension? So what happens with our muscles is they all work together beautifully, and the muscles, if we're not tense, they're nice and soft, and they kind of work together almost in a wave motion. That's what a contraction kind of feels like. It kind of feels like a wave because it kind of builds, and then again. So yeah, a lot of people do think about this kind of wave motion with a crescendo and a gentle flowing away. Where we have tension in the body, those muscles can't do that nice wave motion together beautifully. They kind of fight against each other, and that's where we can start to get that pain happening. So what we want to do is try and keep the body nice and relaxed. And one of the ways that we can really help the body to relax is to help the mind to relax. So something that I generally recommend is to practice meditation while you're pregnant. You don't need anything special, hypnobirthing CD or anything like that to practice relaxation. All you need is a good playlist on a music platform like Spotify or Amazon or Google, I don't know, whatever music platform you use. Even YouTube, you can pop up a meditation playlist on YouTube really, really quickly and easily. The best way to have one, though, is through an app on your phone, and find music that you really like that calms you and it just calms you, it relaxes you, it makes you feel nice, and create it or put it into your phone so that you can listen to it on headphones when you're in labour. Now, what you want to be doing with that playlist of music that helps you to feel calm and relaxed and comfortable and happy, is you want to be listening to it each day if you possibly can. And the reason for that is because then you're starting to, we call it anchoring in, but it's where listening to the music, it triggers certain feelings and emotions. So if you think about music, perhaps, and for a lot of it's from when we were teenagers, early 20s, kind of that whole coming of age thing, the music from that time that we loved and we listen to again, it helps to bring up those, we feel really good listening to that kind of music. So that's what you're seeking to do with this relaxation music, is that when you listen to it, you get that nice gentle feeling of calm and relaxation and it's all good. And if you can try and don't go crazy with it straight away. If you say to yourself, I'm going to start with half an hour a day, that's not going to be achievable for many people. Just start with 5 minutes a day before you go to bed at night. Put that music on, lie down, close your eyes, just really tune in, listening to the music. You don't have to be doing anything special. You can sit upright if you want to, or you can lie on your side. And as you're listening to the music, just take some nice, deep breaths. Nice deep breaths really help us to slow down the mind so that we can start to feel much more calm. And that in turn can help to just really, really relax the body. What you want to be doing with those breaths is just taking a nice slow breath in and a slow breath out. If you can, breathe through your nose. However, I appreciate that particularly in pregnancy, this isn't easy for everyone. Through my own labour, again, I was told all the time, breathe through your nose. I can vouch, as somebody that couldn't breathe through my nose through my labour, breathing through the mouth was absolutely fine. So all you need to do is, I'm just going to demonstrate it for you really, really quickly, which is I'm suddenly feeling really self-conscious about doing this on a Facebook Live, because it's, I'm like all by myself in basically my summer house. So here we go. So just take a breath out first of all. In fact, I'm going to stand up to do it. Hopefully this is going to work. Okay, so if you just pop your hands on your abdomen, fingertips together, what you want to be doing is taking a deep breath in into the abdomen. And as you breathe in, just the fingers should start to separate a little. So here we go. And then a slow breath out. And I appreciate I have got really good, big, functioning lungs right now. And another breath out. So in terms of taking those long breaths in, nobody's expecting you to breathe in like I just did. When you're pregnant, particularly as pregnancy is advancing, baby's obviously coming, as the uterus rises up, your lungs get squished down a bit. Just nice, long, slow breaths. And you will need to think about those breaths the first few times that you practice, but over time, it should become second nature, and the breath just really, really easily slows down. Yeah. So just when you're picking that music, just be mindful of music that's quite calm, soothing, relaxing. Think about the kind of music that you would go and have a massage to, maybe, if that's your thing, or that you would hear in the spa. There are certain that, you know, you can get meditation playlists and spa music and that kind of thing. So that's the ideal that you're looking for, really. The next technique that I was going to talk about is, I call it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. Okay, so again, it's using a little bit of breath work again. So this is going to stay just as a quick, so you don't have to write loads and loads of notes. I believe this is going to stay live, not live. This is going to stay available on the page after this, so you can watch back and pick these tools up if you wanted to. So the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 relax works in that we split the body into 5 sections. So you've got the head and neck, the shoulders and the chest, the abdomen and the pelvis, the legs and the feet. And so you take a breath in. With each out breath, you say the number and think about just relaxing those parts of the body. And the idea is that by the time you get to 1, you feel really relaxed. It doesn't come straight away the first time you practice it. It does take practice. The more you practice it, the quicker your body relaxes, and you can find yourself getting to a point where you take a breath in and you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all on the out breath, all straight down, and you're lovely and relaxed. So I'm just going to guide you through that one really quickly. So if you just take a breath in and breathe out 5, head and neck, and breathe in and out, shoulders and chest, and breath in and out, abdomen and pelvis, and breathe in and letting the legs go, and breathe in and just feel that relaxation into the feet. And that's it. That's all you need to do. And I appreciate I went through it quite quickly there because I didn't want to make it too tricky for people to practice, and I hope I didn't go too quickly. But hopefully that kind of gave you a little bit of an idea of how that technique works. And I have to say, this is a technique that I use even now. It is awesome for if you are having a tricky day with your baby and you need a moment. You need to just step out of the room for a second, just take a breath, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you feel much more relaxed and going back in. Where that really came into its own for me was trying to breastfeed. Like, we found that quite difficult in the early days, and having that technique where I could just go away and take a minute just gave me that moment to find a sense of calm again, so I could go back to my baby and try again. Likewise with toddlers, when you get to the toddler age, it's a really, really good technique because sometimes they can really try your patience. Yeah, it's just good to have a technique so that you can calm down rather than both of you just getting angry. Yeah, it's a lovely one. And it's a really good one as well to use when you first arrive at the hospital, for example, if you are going into hospital to have a hospital birth, because you're going into a new environment and going from home into the hospital, traveling in the car and getting there and meeting the midwife and talking to the midwife. And it can kind of throw you out of your birthing zone a little bit, if you like. So having that technique can just really help you to find that sense of calm again so that you can get your hormones working again and just really ease back into your labour. So as I said, once you eliminate fear and once you eliminate tension, you're then looking at those two things, eliminating the pain. And I talked a little bit about how the birthing muscles work together and how when they're not working very well together, that's where you get the pain. So that when the muscles are working together, they are doing their job. They are doing what they're supposed to do. The uterus is the muscles of the uterus, the walls of the uterus, that, you know, they're working together to nudge your baby down to crowning and then to contract so that the baby can be born. That's the job of the muscles. But when you understand how it's all working, how it all comes together, and you go, oh yeah, okay, I know that that's what my muscles are doing. You breathe through your contractions, lovely deep breaths again, so that you can allow the muscles to work and do their thing. I'm even swaying right now, thinking about swaying through contractions, because that's a really lovely way of keeping the hips nice and loose and the pelvic area nice and loose. It's kind of swaying motions. Well, a lot of people like to sit on birth balls, for example. But that helps to keep everything nice and loose so that the muscles can do their job. The muscles are working hard. There's going to be some discomfort, but it doesn't have to be unbearably painful. It's just closing your eyes, going within, and working with it, allowing your body to relax, release, and do its thing, and go with it. So I'm just wondering, no, I can't see that anyone's put any questions in, which either means that I'm covering things really, really well, or that nobody's genuinely got any questions. So if you have got, that's kind of everything that I was going to talk about tonight. If anyone's got any questions though, pop them in the comments, because it would be lovely to hear from some of you and to hear what you think, or even if any of you have used hypnobirthing techniques in the past, if there was anything that worked for you that you might want to share with people, if you pop that into the comments, I'm sure that that would be really useful to people, because I do think that other people's experiences of birth and and using these techniques, things that worked for you, is really, really good, because it just adds to what we have available to us. That's the other thing, tell your partners about it, get them doing the breathing with you, the slow breaths, and even if you can, because I understand it's not easy when you have other children, if they can lie down with you while you do the relaxation, and it can be really bonding between you and your partner and the baby, touching the bump and listening to the baby and talking to the baby. It can be a really lovely bonding experience. And it also helps them to understand about what you want to be doing with your breathing and how you want to slow it down. And try it, see how you get on. Like I said, I'm going to pop back and have a look in the comments, probably tomorrow now, because I need to go and get my little one in bed after this. But yeah, and I will get back to you. Kate's got a question. Do I know if any of the midwives have had training in hypnobirthing? I don't, I'm afraid. But as a doula, I have supported births at John Radcliffe, particularly on the spires. And I know that they are all, I don't know if they've had specific training, but certainly they've all got experience of supporting women using hypnobirthing techniques and using like the deep breathing. And they are absolutely fab at facilitating and holding a space where you can feel really calm and relaxed. Likewise, downstairs on the delivery suite as well. Again, the midwives are absolutely amazing down there in terms of making the environment as calm and comfortable as it possibly can be. So yeah, while I don't know if they've got specific training, they're definitely able to help you to feel into that zone, if you like. So I hope that helps. So I am going to go now if there aren't any other questions. Thank you so much for watching, and I really, really do hope that it was useful to some of you. As I said at the beginning, if you're not live and if you have anything else that you'd like me to answer, drop a question in the comments and I will answer those tomorrow. And if you want to find out more about me, you can have a look at my website. My website can be found at bornsmiling.co.uk. Have a lovely evening and thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I wish you all the very best with your births. Bye bye.